In this video, I talk about life insurance and whether or not it's something you need to have. And we're starting right now. Hey guys, Elliot here. So life insurance is probably the least favorite topic for anyone to talk about, and it's usually down there with taxes and dental work on the scale of enjoyment. Can't really blame people for that because by its nature, life insurance carries the implication of the policyholder dying, and who wants to think about that? However, unpleasant doesn't correlate to not important, and in this short video, I want to give you some very valid reasons why you need to set up not only a good life insurance policy, but the right one. So perhaps the single biggest barrier to just being able to quickly select the right policy is the fact that there are so many of them, and if you talk to an insurance salesperson, they aren't always the most helpful in picking the one that is in your best interest. However, here's some really useful advice to cut through all that noise. First thing you need to know is that there are really only two types of life insurance: term and permanent. Term is the simple and inexpensive type and what most people need. You select a term of, let's say, 10 or 20 years, then select the amount of coverage, pay the low annual premium, and that's it. You can sign up in 15 minutes, and while there's often a required physical exam, especially for larger amount of coverage, it's all very easy and quick. A term policy pays your beneficiaries if you die during the period of coverage. However, if you outlive the policy, which vast majority of people do, you don't receive anything. Now let's contrast a term policy with a permanent one. A permanent policy covers your full life instead of just a fixed term, and this of course gets very expensive as your odds of dying and the policy having to pay death benefits increases greatly as you get older and older. Because of this, all permanent policies have an investing component to help offset the costs. What that means in practice is that your premium gets split in two. One part of it goes toward paying the death benefits and the other gets invested in one of several ways, and this money can be used to help with the premiums but can also be borrowed against tax-free, which is of course a huge selling point. There are four main types of permanent insurance: whole life or WL, universal life or UL, variable universal life or VUL, and index universal life or IUL. The main difference between them is how they invest your premiums, and with each one offering advantages and disadvantages. What they all have in common, however, is that they are far more expensive than any equivalent term policy, with monthly premiums potentially 10 times higher, and this is where you're far better off with term insurance. Why exactly? Well, you may have heard the expression buy term and invest the difference, and there's a lot of truth in that. With permanent policies, the insurance company invests your money, and with the high fees and limits to your earnings, you will never get the returns you can get on your own. Thus, buying a term policy and investing the money you saved is the better way to go. Additionally, even the idea of having life insurance coverage for your entire life is a dubious one. You need it when you're young, less wealthy, and have a mortgage and kids to protect in case you die, but once your house is paid off, your kids are adults, and you have accumulated some wealth, what do you really need life insurance for? Much better to buy a 30-year term policy when you're in your 20s or 30s, paying just $1 or $2 per day, as opposed to spending hundreds per month to build up equity in a permanent policy that you won't even really need by the time you're in your 60s. Now, to be clear, there are some benefits from permanent policies, such as the ability to borrow from the tax-free, and indeed some wealthy individuals use these policies to shelter funds from the taxman and as a part of a comprehensive estate planning strategy. But for most average folks, they're just not needed. So in conclusion, is life insurance important? Absolutely. If you have a spouse, kids, or anyone who depends on you, you will need the coverage. But be careful in picking out a policy. Term is always the cheaper and more sensible option to get the coverage you need without overpaying. Okay, that was a quick discussion of life insurance and its importance. As always, if you enjoyed this content, please do like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.